Hello, I'm Cindy Crawford, Closet Illusionist. Today at Board Deck and Dice we are looking at a little game from Daily Magic Games called Manasurge. I'm going to be completely honest with you, Manasurge was a game I backed in my Kickstarter addiction, and when it arrived and I read what you were actually doing, which was kind of sending a spell around a circle, basically, is better than that sounds though, it didn't go to the top of my playlist. However, since cracking this open, I found that there's a lot more to Manasurge than just that. So let's take a look. The basic game of Manasurge comes with 7 different types of cards. Not counting your handy cheat sheet, which is very well done, if a little small for those with elderly eyes. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spell types, and they all have numbers on them and are easily identified by their different colours. You also have 1 meta magic type, which acts as a wild card. And the way this game works is kind of like Uno, but everyone's not playing their cards to the centre. A player will play one of the magic styles. If you've got 6 players, you keep all of them in. If you've got less than 6 players, you take out one colour entirely. But a player will play one with a number and a colour to the table, and they will place a crystal on it, which is what you want. You want crystals to win. 12 crystals will get you wins. 12 shards, they come in 1 and 5s. And they will decide which direction it's going to go by pointing the fist either left or right. If anyone else the next player has to play a valid card, which is a number of 1 or higher, or a wild. However, if they play another red card, which is a valid number, that person will also get a crystal. So if the next person played a 6, they will put a crystal on their card. They don't claim it straight away yet because the spell might hit them, and whoever the spell hits does not get any shards. If someone plays the same number as has last been played, so if this 4 was played after this 4, they can change the direction of the spell, they can reverse it back. And you keep going like that until people can't play a valid card. When that person can't play a valid card, that spell hits them. Any players with the player who played the last valid card takes a shard as a reward, and then any players with shards on their cards that have played the same colour, which is called resonating in the game, take those into their personal tokens to score. The player who the spell hits looks at how many shards were on cards when the spell hit them, and they take that much damage. Damage is done from the draw deck. You simply take 2, in this case it would be 2 cards, and play them face down in front of you in a way that you can see how much damage you've taken. That is important in the game for 2 of the other concepts, mana surging and rebirthing. If you take 5 or more damage, if you have 5 or more damage at the end of a round, you will have to rebirth. To rebirth, you will pay one crystal shard from your collection, if you have them, and then you will discard your cards and you will pick up the 5 or more cards that are your damage, and that becomes your hand. So you could in theory have a hand more than the starting hand of 5 to do that. To Manasurge, you have to get rid of all your cards, and this is an interesting point at the end of each round. So if we played a round, I may have got rid of some cards, I may have 3 cards left. I can decide at the end of the round whether to draw back up to 5 or whether to chance the next round with just 3 or however many cards I've got. And the reason I do that is for the chance to Manasurge. Manasurge is when you get rid of all the cards from your hand, you immediately take 2 crystal shards. The round pauses where you do this, you immediately take 2 crystal shards into your collection, you take any damage you have into your hand, and then you draw back up to 5 and the round continues. Wild cards are called meta magic in this, and they can be played at any time unless another meta magic card has stopped you playing them, and they have various powers like give 1 card from your hand to a player as damage, all of the players take 1 damage, that sort of thing. The last thing to mention is that whichever card suit is played first contains a rule that will apply for the whole round. So let's just take a look at those. In this case, the red fireball was played. it says the final damage is the amount of shards on cards plus 2. So in this round, if this person had taken damage, they would actually take 4 damage. Frost cards let anyone who plays a frost card after the first card give one of their hands to the next player. Lightning lets anyone else who plays a lightning card play another valid card if they wish. Quake is an interesting one. If the player is not struck by the quake, then not struck by the spell, then all other players take 1 damage. Blades actually make the numbers progress downwards. So if you were harsh and you played a 2 blade, the next player would have to play a 2 or lower or a metamagic. And entangle is basically if green has been played first of all, any future green cards are invisible. You can play them on any number and they ignore the last rank. And that is about it for Manasurge. He says, rapidly thinking whether he's given you all the rules or not. This is a lovely little game from Daily Magic Games, who are rapidly becoming a great developer. I think they are a great developer and publisher. I've heard from their other games. I haven't played them, but there's a lot of good buzz around their other games. The artwork is fantastic. The cards are clear. There is a bit of symbology, but everyone gets this little cheat sheet with clear instructions on it about the round order and what the icons mean, and there's only 6 of them, so it's not too bad if you don't count the actual magic spells themselves. I like the way damage works. I like the fact that damage is taken from the cards, and then that can affect your rebirthing if you get knocked out by too many spells, and your mana surging, the way you can remove damage. It's a really clever system, and as the game goes on, you might see that a person next to you has 4 damage cards in front of them. So you might play the blade card and decide to play that spell right at them. You might play a 1 blade because you know that they're not going to be able to play lower than that unless they've got meta magic. Or you might see that they've only got 1 card left and they're going to mana surge and heal that damage, so you play it the other way and hope everyone else picks up on it. There's a lot more depth here than first appears, and it's just a very nice kind of tableau-ish, I don't know what the proper term is, to be honest, you know, trumping game where you're trying to trump the last card that's played by playing a valid card, but not be the one who can't play the next valid card. It works well when someone gets to a high crystal total. They don't always win. They can be hit by spells and kind of bullied a little bit with the use of the meta magic particularly. And therein lies my only small complaint, is that certainly when you get to the higher player counts, it goes from 2 to 6 players. I think is ideal at 4. 5 is okay, but it starts to push on too long. 3 is okay, but there's only 3 of you. And because of the way your crystal total can go up and down, if you have 3 bad goes on the trot, if you have 3 rebirths on the trot, you lose 3 crystals. When you're going to 12, that's a lot. You know, you're only going to 12 and someone else can sneak in, and that can be a bit frustrating if you don't get the cards into your hand, if you're not drawing high cards that are usable, or meta magic cards, and someone else is drawing meta magic cards. It can just lengthen the game out a little bit too long. But I think 4 is excellent number for this game. It's not that I wouldn't play it with 5 or 6, it's just I might house rule it a little bit. The other thing that tends to happen is people tend to forget to put their shards on the starting suit and the fist on the starting suit, so you know which the starting suit is, because rounds can go round a few times. And the other rule that people tend to forget is the player who played the last valid card when a spell hits someone also gets a shard, and that would quicken games up, but people tend to forget that. And if you're the only one who knows the rules, you're going to have to keep your eye on that, because that can slow the games down. Intimidation factor, very low. The cards are self-explanatory. Good cheat sheet there. The rules make sense. Not the easiest, not the most difficult, not terrible, not amazing, but good. And the game is an awful lot of fun. I've been Cindy Crawford with Board, Deck and Dice. Thank you for watching. Take care.